Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock, which means it's time for another video. And today I am joined on Magic TV by the always awesome, absolutely fantastic, the one and only Jessica Howard. Now, if you've not been following the Jess-umentary, then you have been missing out, especially if you're new into Magic. Because basically, what's happening is we're basically taking Jess from having no gigs, zero assets, no website, no nothing, and slowly, step by step, turning her into a point where she's going to be a Las Vegas headliner and traveling the world. And it's the process that we're actually going through, the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs and all of that, in order to get to that position. And if you haven't gone and looked at the archives, you really should, because there is a ton of information that Jess has already done. I will tell you, if you're new to the Jess-umentary, Jess is doing amazing in a very short period of time. She's got so many assets in place. She's got so much social proof in place. We've got a little bit of work to do in various different areas, but Jess is doing amazing. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the lady herself, the one and only Jess Howard. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing good, yes. How are you?
Yeah, you do. I'm very good. I'm a box of fluffy dog. It's Christmas. I'm filming this in the middle of Christmas. And Christmas for me is insanely, ridiculously busy. So I'm traveling all around the country, John o'Groats to land ends and all points in between. And yeah, so it's a bit busy. I'm a bit tired, Jess, but other than being a bit tired, I'm very excited to be on this call with you. But I'm good. I'm good. I'm looking
Good.
forward to I'm looking forward to the 23rd of December, because on the 23rd of December I have a few days off till about the 27th. So I've got a few days off for a few days. But this is not about me and my insane workload. This is about you. Now, when we talked to you last week, or last week, it was a couple of weeks ago now, because I've been so busy performing. When we talked to you a couple of weeks ago, we'd obviously talked about all the social proof that you'd got from the press releases with regards to your award, which was amazing. You got the radio footage. Have you started sharing that content? Because we talked at the time, didn't we, about using that as kind of social proof and starting to share it and share the different awards you've won and the radio interview and everything. How did you end up doing with that?
Yeah, so everything's on my social media to begin with.
Great.
And then the full interview I put on YouTube, which then I've embedded onto the website as well.
That's great. That's fantastic. And you shared that link as well, have you? That's something
Yeah.
that when you deal with inquiries, by the way, that's the sort of thing, and we'll get to inquiries and leads in a bit, but when you start dealing with inquiries and leads on a regular basis, this is the sort of thing that you can very easily drop at the bottom of an email, almost like as a PS. So if somebody's inquiring for your services, you can go, PS, by the way, here's a link to an interview that I did for blah 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 radio when they interviewed me after I won an award at the Magic Circle J Day or whatever. It's kind of like dropping in this social proof is a great way to deal with leads, because like I've said to you before, when you're dealing with leads and you're dealing with inquiries, a lot of the time it's about making you stand out. It's about making you look like you're better than anyone else that they're inquiring about, you see.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely one way that you can do that. So having it embedded is good. Have you changed the website around much? Because we did talk about messing around with the website a little bit. Were there some changes?
Yeah, I've obviously, because the main thing with the changing the website was going to be with the photos. I've not got any photos yet, but I've got, as I said before, we kind of started recording. I have something lined up to get some good photos.
Yeah, so do you want to talk
Um,
about that? Because I mentioned to you about we need photos. That's one of the things that's kind of affecting the website right now. People are going on there and they're not getting a clear idea of how good you are. People need to see you in action in the sort of event that they might want to book you for. So, the photos that we've got are okay, but I think it's turning some people away. I think that because the other thing is, you're very honest on the website, which is a good thing to be. And you talk about how you're 18 years old, young magician, blah 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 blah, which is great. But that brings up warning signs to some people. Some people will be like, hang on a minute. Okay, so she's only 18 years old. Should we be hiring somebody with more experience? And unfortunately, and it shouldn't be this way, but I know that there are clients out there. I know they are from working in from running an entertainment agency. I know there's clients out there that'll go, "Oh, she's female. We need a male magician." And I know that because we get phone calls from Slightly Unusual going, "Yeah, we see that you have male and female magicians. We want a traditional magician. We want a male magician." So being young and being female is actually a blessing and a curse. It's
Yeah.
it's a bad thing because some people might go, well, hang on a minute, that that person might not have experience. They might not be the person that we're looking for. It's a blessing in one respect because it's like it really differentiates you. It really makes you stand out over other people in the industry because you look unique, you look different, which is great. But it means that when somebody goes onto your website, one of the things that you need to do is you need to say, look, I am the perfect person for your event. And the photos, if we're honest with ourselves, don't really do that. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what did you do about getting them?
So I looked at I've not got any yet, but I looked at some local business networking events was the main thing, and like there were some like dinners as well, which but they've not got back to me. But what who got back to me was Cotswold Networking, who have like monthly events, which um just like bit at fancy hotels in the area. They get together um for an evening meal to network and all whatever they do. Um and so I emailed them and they said they would have me. That's fine. I could bring a photographer to the one in February. So I'll
Okay.
do that. It's the 2nd of February or something. So it's basically January, but it's not like the end of
Okay.
February.
And they've said that you can take photos there.
Yeah.
So you're taking somebody with you.
Yeah, I will be.
Brilliant. Okay. I actually think that networking would be a really great way to grow your business. Do you know much about networking?
Not really, no.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. However, how how well do you know Faye Presto?
Um, I know like of her, but I don't think she knows of me, if you know what I mean.
Have you seen the video that I put on my channel about Faye Presto? Has it popped up on your feed? Or
Mm, I don't think so, no.
no. So it's fine. So a couple of days ago, uh, maybe a few more days than a couple of days ago, but recently, and I'm going to find the link so I can put it into the chat for you. Um, excuse me. I did a deep dive, kind of like I did a documentary on Faye Presto,
Okay.
and I talked about on there. It's about half an hour. It's about half an hour video, and I talked about what she's done to be so successful. Because
Okay.
if you don't know much about Faye, she is one of the most successful close-up magicians of all time. And she did it not through having a fancy website. She did it not through having like a fancy email campaign or a marketing strategy or anything like that. She did it just by speaking to people. She did it just by making sure that she was in front of the right people at the right time and she spoke to the right people and she made the right impression. And off the back of that, she's become one of the most successful magicians in the world, even to this day, just from basically just chatting to people. And that's something that you absolutely 100% should do because you have this kind of it factor in that you're instantly likable when people chat to you. Instantly, it's like, oh, she's a lovely person. She's really nice, which you can't buy. You can't buy that. You either got it or you haven't. You can kind of cheat your way to it. There's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People that will teach you how to have kind of that kind of approach to people when you walk up to them. But you've kind of got that naturally. And I really think that you should leverage that outside of everything that we're doing on the website, outside of everything that we're doing with everything else. I think you really should be leveraging the fact that if we put you in a room with the right people, I think that you'll get booked for the right events. So I'm putting into the chat right now a link to that video that I just told you about. I put it
Okay.
up a couple of days ago. Um, Now that you're a member of the Magic Circle, Faye is at the Magic Circle quite a lot. I would reach out and connect with her if I were you,
Yeah.
because I think she could give you a lot of advice. And she's also been a very big champion her entire career for women in magic, which is perfect because you are a woman in magic. So she's got an invested interest in you, and also she's one of these people that really likes to help. She's very, if you don't know her very well, she's very brash. You know where you stand with Faye. She's not going to mince her words. She's going to tell you exactly what she thinks. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know exactly where you stand with
Yeah.
her. But have a look at that have a look at that video I sent you. It's half an hour long. Just sit back and watch it. Take
Okay.
notes. I basically break down Faye's career and I talk about everything that she's accomplished and I talk about what we can learn as magicians from her journey. So I would watch that because I think that's going to help you. I think you'll get some really good ideas from that. But then reach out to Faye. She's quite active on Facebook Messenger. So connect with her on Facebook and just send her a message and just say, "Hey Faye, my name's Jess. I'm a 18-year-old young magician, just being made a member of the Magic Circle after winning an award at J Day at the YMC. I'd love to connect with you and chat to you and see if I can get some advice." And part of the thing with networking, so I you see what net. We're going to go down a rabbit warren here, Jess. I'm really sorry, but I think this is really important for you to hear.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I built my career, I built my business through networking. I don't really network that much these days because my business is national. But when I first started, for the longest time, I built my business through networking, through business networking. And networking is a fantastic way to really build your business, especially if you don't have much in the way of resources. If you haven't got a massive advertising budget and you're not going to be spending hundreds of pounds on PPC every single week, and you're wanting to maximize any sort of marketing spend that you've got, networking is a great way to do that. Now, there's business networking, which is the type of thing that you're going to at the beginning of February. And it's great that you're going there and it's great that they're allowing you to get photos. But going to a networking event like that will generate it. There's more advantages of going there beyond just getting photos. And I'll go through those for you in a minute. But networking isn't just about business networking events and kind of like events that people run. It's not just about that. Networking is also about sort of leveraging your existing uh, almost your existing client, but not client base, your existing sort of friends circle, the circle of people that you know, leveraging them. So what I mean, but have you ever heard of the Kevin Bacon 7 degrees of separation?
No.
No.
Oh
So
yeah, I have actually. Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
have.
like every single actor everywhere in the world, or every single actress everywhere in the world, is connected to Kevin Bacon through 7 different points.
Yeah.
And it's true, and it's true with networking as well. You could be connected with anybody as long as you just don't know it yet, right? So what you need to do is you need to let your friends and your family know that you are a magician. Give them your website, give them a business card, let them know that you're a magician and you're actively wanting to get bookings. Let them know the type of magic that you want to do. Really kind of get it in your head what you want to do. Have you heard about a customer avatar? Have I mentioned about customer avatars before to
Yeah.
you? Yeah, so know what your customer avatar is, and then let everybody know in your circle of friends and family what it is that you're looking for. And that's really important. And I'll tell you for why. One of the biggest contracts I've ever had is with a theme park, and I've been doing their entertainment exclusively for almost a decade. And that came about as a result of meeting a cleaner believe it or not. Now, I could very easily judge a book by its cover, and I could go, well, how could a cleaner help me get a magic gig anywhere? So I could kind of look at a cleaner and go, hey, you can't help me, and not bother speaking to them. But that cleaner had a brother or a sister, I can't remember. That cleaner had a relative, and that relative was the head booker for this entertainment company, for this theme park. And they put me in touch with that person, and I had a conversation with them, and I was like, yeah, okay, so we'll supply all the entertainment for you for your theme park, which has consistently been one of my biggest clients for the last decade.
That's
The,
nice.
so the point that I'm trying to make here is you should never judge a book by its cover. You might have a friend and you go, well, that friend knows nothing about magic. They're not going to be able to help me. But it could be that their dad works as the HR director for a big company that's wanting to book a magician for their next event. You never know, right? But unless you tell all of your friends and family what it is that you do and what you're looking for, they're not going to be able to help you. But if you turn around to them and you say, look, I've got a website now, I'm actively taking bookings. And by the time I finish school, I want to be a professional magician. I want to go out and I want to do this professionally. And I'd really like your help. Can you help me? If you meet anybody or you meet anybody who might know somebody who's looking for a magician, can you pass my card on to them? Because I really would like to speak to them.
Okay.
Um, that's a great way to generate more work because it's kind of like it's a trickle effect. It's almost avalanches. And what I mean by that is, if that one person that you speak knows 10 people and those 10 people each know 10 people, just by telling one person what you do, you're effectively maybe getting in touch with hundreds of people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, what that is, what I've just described to you there, is business networking. This event that you spoke about in February, basically, business networking events are a way for business owners to meet up and potentially link up with like-minded business owners that might be able to pass each other work. So, going back to what I said at the beginning, when I first grew my business, I grew my business through business networking because I didn't really have much money. I didn't really have much resources. I had a website and that was about it. But I went business networking and I Googled business networking events in my area. And these days it's very, very different because not only have you got in-person face-to-face business networking, but you've also got virtual networking. Because of COVID, virtual networking became a thing. But back in the day, I would go to free networking events. I would go to this thing called For Networking, which still exists. I would go to this place called BNI, which is the largest networking organization in the world. It stands for Business Networking International. I would go to BNI meetings and I would reach out to as many business owners as I could, and I'd tell them what it is that I do. I'd tell them who I am, what I do, and I'd tell them the type of person that I'm looking for. And then at these networking events, you basically it's all about having conversations. There's an expression in networking: a small conversation can lead to a massive opportunity. So you can have a small conversation with somebody, and that can lead to something absolutely huge. It's about, um, like there's a couple of different rules to tell you. Number one is, like I said, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't kind of, obviously, when you go to a networking event, there's certain businesses that you should gravitate to over others. For example, if there's a person who runs a hotel there, or there's an event planning company there, or a photographer. Photographers are perfect because they are in the same industry as you. Photographers get booked to go to corporate events and weddings, but they don't compete with you. So, that it's not like they're going to book a photographer over a magician or a magician over a photographer. So, photographers linking up with photographers and linking up with people like that is fantastic because it's a great synergy that you can have. So there's certain types of business owners that you should gravitate to, and a lot of the time with these networking events, you'll get a list ahead of time of the type of businesses, the names of the people that are going to be there, and the type of business that they have, and you want to kind of try and gravitate towards certain businesses, but don't exclude other businesses because, like I said, you never know who they know. It's not necessarily about who they are or what their business is, it's who they know. Now, the other thing about networking is definitely have some business cards before you go. Have you got business cards yet?
No.
Okay, we can talk about business cards. You can get them relatively cheaply. You don't have to spend a fortune. You can get them online for pence. In fact, there's places where you can get business cards for free. But you do want to have some business cards because people are going to be asking for your business card. And there's on the Netrix, on the silver level of the Netrix, in the business section, there's a whole course on business cards with me and Steve Deller. Do you know Steve Deller? You heard of him?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, incredible mentalist. Also fantastic at designing everything and really good guy. Go and have a look at that course because he goes through business card design and he goes through everything. What should be on a business card, what shouldn't be on a business card. But you are going to, when you go to these networking events, you are going to have people asking for your business card. So it's really important that you have business cards. But here's the important thing. Networking is all about building relationships. It's very unlikely that someone's going to book you right there and then. So if you go to a networking meeting and you're speaking to people, it's very unlikely somebody will go, "Oh, I've been looking for a magician next week for an event. Can I book you?" That probably won't happen. But what it is useful for is building up relationships. So you meet a photographer, for example, and the photographer goes, "Oh, I work in the wedding industry," and you go, "Oh, amazing! I'm a magician, and I get booked for weddings as well." And so you pass each other's business cards, and you speak to each other, and then you wander off and speak to somebody else. That's an amazing connection. Now your hope, your goal is that that photographer will pass your details on to their clients. They're not going to do that overnight. The reason is they don't know you very well. They don't know if you're very good. They need to get to know you first of all. And this is the real key to networking. Networking is about building relationships, but it's also about getting people to know you because if they know you, they like you, they trust you. Know, like, trust. Once they trust you, they will recommend you to their clients. So you have to build up a relationship and get them to realize that you are the perfect person to hand over to their clients. And there's a couple of different ways of doing that. The first way of doing that is by following up. There's another expression in networking which says the fortune is in the follow up. Now, what that means is, like I say, it's unlikely you're going to get a booking that night. Very unlikely. However, the fortune's in the follow up. You want to connect with these people. Have you done much with LinkedIn at this point? No?
Only really made an account. No.
Right. Okay. So I want you to have a look at the silver level of the Netrix, and I want you to have a look at the course by Mark Northall. Mark Northall is a friend of mine, and he did a big course on the Netrix all about LinkedIn and setting up your account and so on and so forth. Have a look at that. And the
Okay.
reason you want to have a look at that is because that tells you everything that you need to know about LinkedIn for a magician. It's like an hour and a half conversation between me and Mark Northall about what a magician should be on LinkedIn. You will find that at a business networking event, a lot of these people will be on LinkedIn. So the best thing to do is when you've been to a networking organization, a networking meeting, you're probably going to be walking away with about 10 or 15, 20, 25, 30 business cards from everybody that you've met. Everyone's going to give you a business card. Don't just take those business cards and throw them away. The fortune is in the follow up. So, two things should happen. First of all, take those business cards, it's going to have their name on there, and find them on LinkedIn and connect with them on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, you've got first degree connections, second degree connections, third degree connections. We'll talk about LinkedIn another week, but you have first, second, and third degree connections. First degree connections are people that you're connected to. Second degree connections are people that you're Second degree connections are people that are connected to people that you are connected to. So I don't know if we're connected on LinkedIn, but let's just say that I was connected with you on LinkedIn and you wanted to meet somebody that I'm connected to, they would be a second degree connection to you, right? So there's first degree connections, second degree connections, third degree connections. You want to get into the habit of connecting with these people on LinkedIn. You can do it right there and then. You can do it on the LinkedIn app. You can literally just tap your phones against each other and you'll connect on LinkedIn automatically, or you can do it after the fact. So the first thing is you should connect with them on LinkedIn. Now, that does mean that you want to keep your LinkedIn profile fairly active and you want to make sure that it's all up and running, as opposed to just having an account. Um,
Yeah.
have a look at the Mark Northall video first. Before we go into the basics of that, have a look at the Mark Northall video. Remind me next week, we can go into LinkedIn and we can speak about
Okay.
how to use LinkedIn. But it'd be worthwhile you having a frame of reference and looking at that video first. Um, the other way to connect with these people is by sending them an email. Just send them an email and just say, "Hey, Jess here. It was great to meet you at the blah, blah, blah networking event. Thanks for taking the time to chat to me. I've sent you a LinkedIn connection, but I just wanted to formally let you know. I just wanted to formally introduce myself. I'm a professional magician based in Wiltshire, and I specialize in corporate events and weddings and private parties, everything from close-up magic all the way up to stage performances. I'm looking to connect with business owners who can help me, and in return I can help them to help their business grow, or something along those lines. It'd be great to hear more about you and your business. Please feel free to drop me a call or send me an email. I look forward to meeting you again on the circuit at some point. Jess, something like that. Now you can automate that if you want to. We've talked about Meeting, no, not Meeting. We've talked about Mailchimp, haven't we? And various different emailing platforms. Have we talked about that?
No, you've mentioned them, but you've not talked about using them.
Okay. Remind me about that as well, because we can
Okay.
automate this whole process. But I don't want to overwhelm you, especially over Christmas. But we should talk about emailing platforms as well and how to automate that whole process. But for now, don't worry about automating it. For now, the easiest way to do this is to, in your phone, have on the notes page a pre-written email. And then when you come back from a networking event, you can literally open that pre-written, you can open your email thing on your phone, put their email address in, and just copy and paste that notes page, changing a couple of details, and then hit send and just go through all of the business cards. But the goal is that you connect with these people and that
Yeah.
you follow up with them. So add them on LinkedIn and send them an email. That's absolutely the best way to go with that. Um, The other thing that you need to know about business networking is there's a concept in business networking called givers gain. Have I ever told you about givers gain? Don't.
No.
No. Okay, so givers gain is a term that was invented by BNI, Business Networking International, and their whole thing is about referral based marketing. So BNI came up with this thing called givers gain, and the idea is very, very simple. The concept, the strategy is, if I give you business, you are going to want to give me business. So let's say, for example, I am a florist. I'm not a magician. I'm a florist. And you meet up with me at a networking event and we build up a bit of a relationship and, everything's great. And then all of a sudden, you get a phone call from somebody saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a magician for my wedding. You were recommended by Craig the florist." And then the next day, you get an email from somebody else. "Hey, I've got a wedding coming up. I understand you do magic. I was recommended by Craig the florist." And over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, you get like 10 or 12 referrals for various different events. And every single person says that they've come from Craig the florist. In your head, what are you thinking? Well, first of all, you
Craig's
think
awesome.
Craig's awesome, exactly. But you're probably also thinking, he could be sending those referrals to anybody, not just me. Oh my gosh, I better find some people who want flowers because I need to be able to send him some referrals so he knows that I'm sending people his way as well. Because if it's a one-way street and he just keeps sending me referrals, at some point he's probably going to get fed up and he's going to stop. I better, and now you'll probably reach out to all of your friends and you'll probably say, "Hey, do you need some flowers? I know I've got a friend. Are you getting married? Have you sorted your florist yet? No? Let me hook you up with my guy. He's awesome." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That right there is giver's gain. If I give you business, you are going to want to give me business. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that. Givers, if I give you business, gain, you're gonna get business. So the strategy when going to networking events, and this is the thing that most people get wrong. Most people turn up to networking events and they look around and they go, "What can I get from this networking event? What can I get from this networking event?" Whilst the right approach should be, what value can I give to everybody else at this networking event? Because if I meet a load of people and give them advice and give them referrals, they're more likely to want to throw things back in my direction. So, networking is a brilliant way of generating work. And as I say, I built my business through networking. I would go, at one point, I was doing like about 7 networking events a week. And I was
Mm.
going out to loads of different networking events, and that is where I was getting all of our work from. That was getting where I was getting all of my work from. And I got to a point where my business went sort of nationally, and it was like, well, there's no point in doing this anymore. Things changed, but for the situation that you're in as a local magician, just starting off, you definitely want to go networking
Yeah.
because it's almost like right. So if you go networking, it's like having an army of people that are selling your services for you instead of you just doing it on your own. Now, I'll say one more thing about networking, and then we can revisit this at some point in the future. In that, there's 2 types of networking events. Now, with all of this being said, it would be worthwhile you looking for other networking events in your area because there are so many of them. And again, your superpower, Jess, or one of your superpowers, is that you're insanely likable. So you'll go to these sort of events and people will just be going, "Oh, she's amazing." Uh, so because of that, it's definitely worth looking into networking events in your area. Now, there's 2 types of networking events. There's free networking events. I don't know what the type is that you're going to, but there's free networking events that don't cost a penny. And then you put on networking events for free. They're okay. They're not as good as paid ones, but they're okay. They're not bad. And then there's paid networking events. Now there's 2 types of paid networking events. The first is where they charge you a fee to go to the networking event. So it might be a case of trying to think here. It might be a case of you come along to this networking event and you get dinner, but you pay 20 quid or something to go. So you pay 20 quid and that gives you access to all of these people that are also at this networking event, right? That's one type. The other type is BNI and for networking are these perfect examples. Networking events where you have to become a member. Now, when you go to these networking events, you normally get 1 or 2 goes for free to see if it's for you. So, like BNI, for example, you go along to a BNI, you can go there for free, and you don't have to become a member. And you can come along for a second time as well as a freebie. You don't have to be a member. But after the first 2 times, you then have to go, right, okay, if you want to come again, you have to be a member now. So, you'd have to buy a membership, which isn't that expensive, and it might be something that you want to do. But there's lots of different opportunities in terms of networking without having to become a member of anything. I will say that BNI was probably the best networking event that I ever went to. I was a BNI member for about 4 years, I think 5 years, and it was very, very lucrative for me. Because when you go to BNI, it's weekly meetings, so you go every single week, so you get to know the people in the room. And then that's the other thing, by the way, depending on the networking meeting that you go to, you're going to be asked to stand up in front of everybody and do a 60 seconds. So be prepared for that. Probably not at this one, but a lot of networking events, you have to do a 60 seconds. Do you know what I mean by 60 seconds?
No.
Basically, in a lot of networking events, they start off with open networking. So you go and you just get to chat to people. And then let's say it's a breakfast networking event. After the open networking, you all sit down and each business owner is given 60 seconds to talk about their business. And you want to kind of know what you're going to say ahead of time and be able to say it very clearly and very succinctly. And you don't want to waffle because you're meant to be promoting yourself as a professional entertainer. It would look
Yeah.
bad if you were there going, well, my name is, I'm Jess, and that wouldn't look very good at all, right? So you
Yeah.
need to kind of think ahead about that and think about it 60 seconds. Now, sometimes I would do 60 seconds and I'd do a magic trick in the 60 seconds, but a lot of the time I wouldn't. The most important thing with 60 seconds, and then we'll get off the topic of networking, I promise. The most important thing about the 60 seconds is that you make it very specific. So it's not because when here's the thing, right? When most business owners hear magician, they don't know what that means. It could be that you're looking to do kids' parties dressed as a clown. They don't know what magician means. So it's good for them to have a specific thing that they know that you do. So, for example, if we were networking right now and I was standing up and doing a 60 seconds to the room, and please forgive me because I haven't done one of these since about 2019. So this is 7 years. This is probably going to be a lot of rust, but it'd be something like this. I would stand up and I'd go, "Hey, everybody, my name's Craig Petty and I run a company called Slightly Unusual." Now, Slightly Unusual is basically an entertainment company specializing in magic. What we do is we supply magicians to everything from corporate events to private parties to weddings, basically any place that you want the wow factor, any place that you want something a little bit different, we can supply entertainment, we can supply magicians. Now, we do everything from close-up magic all the way up to big, large, grand illusion shows where we can make people appear and disappear, saw somebody in half, float somebody up in the air. We've basically got the ability to do anything depending on what you're looking for. So I'm looking to connect with people in the wedding industry. It's coming up to January in the moment, and that's where a lot of wedding fairs takes place. That's where a lot of brides start looking for their weddings. Entertainment, and so I'm looking to connect with anybody in the wedding industry. It could be photographers, it could be dressmakers, it could be venues, it could be wedding planners. If you know somebody that you could connect me to, that would be fantastic. My name's Craig Petty, and I'm from Slightly Unusual, the Comedy Illusionists. Done. That's kind of your 60 seconds there. So, very clearly putting across who you are, what you do, and what you're looking for, and anybody who listened to that would have a very clear idea of what I was looking for in terms of business. So we'll revisit networking in a bit. I would look into networking events in your area. The other thing is about networking as well, by the way, most magicians don't do it. So because most magicians don't do it, it's a very lucrative thing to do because let's say you're an accountant, for example. There's lots of accountants that go networking. Do you know what I mean? There's lots. You could
Yeah.
go to free networking events and there's 16 accountants in the room. It's like, well, they all do the same thing. They just balance the books and they're slightly dodgy. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but with a magician, you're quite unique. You're quite different. And you won't find that many of the magicians do networking events. So that's something that's worth noting. So really kind of have a look into that, have a look into some networking events and have a think about your 60 seconds pitch. But in terms of this one at the beginning of February, great opportunity, absolutely great opportunity to get photos. That's perfect because we need those for the website. And once we've got those photos, I think that's the missing link on the website. I think at that point, then that's when we can kind of really kind of turn everything up because I think that that's the thing that's turning people away. So having those photos is vitally, vitally, vitally important. But before you go to that networking event, get yourself some business cards. Vistaprint, I think. Have you ever heard of Vistaprint?
Yeah.
I think they do them for like free. It doesn't have to be fancy. Have a look at the video on the website, but on the Netrix. But yeah, get yourself some business cards and have a think about your LinkedIn profile. We'll talk more about LinkedIn next week, but actually look at the Mark Northall stuff as well first.
Yeah.
Um, who are you taking with you, if you don't mind me asking? Is it somebody who knows what they're doing with camera?
Um, Not exactly, but it's a friend who takes good photos, so I'll get them to. I'll show them what I need basically, and I think I trust them to do a good job basically because
No, that's
they're
fine.
good at taking normal photos, so hopefully can
Brilliant.
take.
Make sure that they understand that the most important thing is that it's the reaction of the people in the audience.
Yeah,
You want to get that shocked face, but you also want to be in the picture as well. So it wants to be a little bit of you, but mainly the reaction. And the other thing that's worth doing is it's worth you thinking about when the moments of magic are in your tricks that you're going to be doing that day that make people react. So when I'm doing a coins across, I know when I pull their thumb and the coin lands in their hand and they feel it, they're going to be like, oh, that's going to be a moment right there.
yeah,
Think through where those moments are and tell your camera person when those moments are as well. Show them the trick and let them know, because then when they're taking pictures, they'll go, oh, she's about to do that moment where she said there's going to be a good reaction. So they can get themselves into a position where they're taking the picture. Does that make sense?
yeah,
The other thing that's worth noting is when you go over to a group of people and they've got a photographer. Now, the actual networking group have said, yeah, you can take photos, but the individual people probably don't know that's taking place. So when you're going around and you're doing magic, I'd just say, "Hey, my name's Jess. And I make a little joke of it. I go, "Hey, my name's Jess. I'm a magician. I've been asked to come along and do magic today. I'm just putting some new photos on my website. So I've got I don't know, whatever the person's name is. I've got Doris here with me. Doris is going to be taking photos. So if you guys could look like you're having a great time, that would be amazing." And just make a bit of a joke of it. But that's going to probably help because the thing is, when you point a camera in someone's face, sometimes they can seize up. So
yeah,
letting them know about that ahead of time is important.
yeah,
Now, in terms of your website, obviously we know that we need those photos. We need those photos in order to really kind of convert more people. I think that's the thing that's really affecting things. But you're probably finding it's quieter at the moment. The reason why, but if you look at Google Analytics, you're probably finding it's a lot quieter in terms of people going onto your website than ever before. That's not because your website's doing terribly, that's industry wide. So, what tends to happen is, by the time you hit December, unless you are completely disorganized, most corporates tend to have already organized their entertainment for Christmas at this point. Um, and unless you're disorganized, nobody else will be looking for entertainment around about December. You get the odd straggler, you get the odd one or two, you get the odd last minute thing. It can happen, but it's not as busy as it would be at any other time. And most people that are booking private events for after Christmas or corporate events for after Christmas, when they're booking in for the following year, 2026 in this case, a lot of the time they're kind of going through the thought process of, well, let's just get through December. It's very busy in December. Let's just get through December and we'll start organizing that entertainment in the new year. We tend to find internally within my company that January is the busiest month of the year in terms of inquiries. Excuse me. It's not the busiest in terms of bookings. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not the busiest. Um, However, uh, it's the busiest in terms of inquiries because a lot of people will get to January the 1st and they'll be like, oh, holy crap, I haven't actually organized that thing that's coming up in the middle of January. Oh my God. So you want to make sure that you're promoting. You're still continuing with the social media. You're still continuing to keep everything on because hopefully you'll see, an uptick of people coming through to your website as of January the 1st. Now, we still don't have the photos in place, but you are going to see an uptick. And what we need to do over January, February, and March, our goal, our main goal, outside of doing the networking and this and that and the other and everything else we talk about, the goal realistically should be to really kind of hone in on that website and turn it into a conversion machine. We want to have more people hitting that website. We want more people that are hitting that website to go onto the contact page. We want more people that are going on the contact page to fill in the contact form. And we want more people that are going on the contact form that are filling in that contact form to be pitched and booked in. That's really important that we get all of that happening, because obviously you've got the website now. Now it's time for it to be working for you. So, which is why we want to start looking over the next couple of weeks into automated email processes and so on and so forth as well. But there's a big thing that I want you to do before the next meeting, and this is the most important one. I want you to start, and you've probably never done this before, so I'm going to give you a little bit of clear guidance, but I want you to put some business goals together. Have you ever done that before?
No.
No. Okay, so that's fine. So here's the thing. One of the most important things in business is that you kind of have a rough idea of what you want to achieve. You want to have business goals, especially coming into the new year. You want to have business goals. And the reason is it's a little bit like piloting a ship. Is a ship a pilot? I don't think so. Steering a ship, captaining a ship,
Something like that.
whatever. It's a little bit like the person who's in charge of a ship and they're in the middle of the ocean. If they don't have a destination in mind, if they don't know where they're going, that ship's just going to go round and round and round in circles until it runs out of fuel. You've got to know, you've got to have a rough idea of where you're going, right? So the way that we have an idea of what our destination is by setting goals. And you want to set yearly goals and monthly goals. And here's the thing about goals, right? And this is what I always genuinely believe. The goals should be aspirational. So it would be very easy for you to go, I want to have one booking through the whole of 2026. But that would be pants because it'd be like, right, okay, I've got that, hit the goals, job done, put my feet up. You want to push yourself. You want to. So I work with a guy on the Netrix. I've worked with him for years. And when I started working with him, he was doing a full-time job doing something else. He's now a full-time magician. And every year we set goals. And we always base the goals on what he did the year before, and we add a bunch on, like loads on. And he never hits those goals, but he's always so much further along than he was the previous year. And that's the whole thing about business. You know, you want to keep going up and up and up and up and up. Goals should be aspirational. It's kind of like this. Let me use an analogy for you, if you don't mind. I want to imagine that you are standing on a garage roof and you've got quite a big back garden. And in your back garden, in your backyard for the Americans that are watching this, in your back garden, there is a tree. Okay, and it's really near the garage. There's a tree. And for some strange and unknown reason, Jess, you decide that I don't even know where you're on the garage roof. It's a weird thing, but you're there. You're there and you're on the garage roof. And for some reason, you decide, really for shits and giggles more than anything else, you're going to jump from the garage roof and you're going to try and grab the tree. You're out your mind. I don't know why. There's two branches on that tree. There's an upper branch and there's a lower branch. Here's what happens. If you jump from that garage roof and you aim to grab that lower branch and you put all of your effort into aiming to grab that bottom branch, if you miss that bottom branch, you're going to fall on your ass because there's nothing else left to grab. If, however, you aim for the branch above it, if you aim for the higher branch and you put all of your effort and all of your time and everything into aiming for that upper branch, if you don't hit that upper branch, you're absolutely going to grab that lower one because you've aimed higher in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's that old expression. I'm sure you've heard this expression: aim for the moon, because if you don't hit it, you'll reach the stars. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
No? Yeah, you have. Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
old expression. Yeah, aim for the moon. If you don't reach it, you'll hit for the stars. So you want to make your goals aspirational. You want to look at it and go, I don't know how I'm going to do that. So you want to kind of have a monthly average, and you want to kind of decide what that monthly average is. I'm not going to give you any advice. I am, however, next session going to listen to your goals, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and then we can lock them in stone. And when you've put your goals together, I want you to print them out and I want you to put them on the wall or put them somewhere where you can see them every single day, because then that's going to remind you. Because here's the thing, right? Effectively, you are right now an entrepreneur. Anybody who is running their own business, anyone who has aspirations of running their own business, anybody who is going through the process of becoming a person that runs their own business, you're an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that your ultimate goal, if this is a graph, and down here at the bottom we've got time, and up here we've got success. You start down here in that corner, like a graph. Your goal is to end up right there. At the end of your career, you're as successful as you want it to be, whether that be a Las Vegas headliner or that be a full time professional wedding magician, whatever it is, right? Now, most people think that the path of an entrepreneur is like this. Is it hell? It's more like this. And eventually you will get there, but it's up and down. And it's so weird as an entrepreneur. Like, it's so weird. And I'm going to prepare you for this right now. Anybody who runs a business will relate to this. You can have the highest of highs, and then you can have the lowest of lows. So I'll give you an example. Just 3 or 4 days ago, I was doing an illusion show for a really big corporate client. And I went and did that illusion show for the corporate client, and they absolutely loved it. It was probably the biggest client I'd walked off. I walked off stage and I got a standing ovation. Oh my God. The client said, yeah, we want to book you again. That's the best show we've ever seen. I was high as a kite. Jess, I was so excited. And then the next day, I came in and I had a client who booked me for 10 events through January and February ring up and say, we've got an issue with the budget. We can't have those bookings anymore. And so immediately I've lost 10 bookings next year. And it's gone from, yeah, I'm amazing. I've just got a standing ovation. This client wants to book me again and again and again to, oh my God, I've just lost all of that work for next year. What the hell am I going to do? That is what an entrepreneur is. And it's a little bit like you. You know, you've got the high of, oh my God, it's amazing. I've just set up my own website, but nobody's inquiring through this website. Damn it.
Yeah.
I've just gone and I've just kicked ass at J Day and I've won 2 awards, but but nobody else is booking me. It's kind of like this. It's the same thing. It's just I'm kind of there at that point in my career, and you're kind of right down here. You're at the start of your career, but we're going on the same journey. It's just I'm older than you. Don't know if you noticed. I'm older than you. Because of that, I've been
Yeah.
doing this a hell of a lot. Yes, you, of course, you have. Um, I've been doing this a heck of a lot longer, right? So, but we're on the same path. We're on the same journey, and we both love magic, which is amazing. So I'm waffling now, as I tend to do, as you know, but the point I'm trying to make is the goals that you set will keep you motivated through the times where you're like, ah. So whenever I'm in a situation where something's gone wrong in my business, whatever the case may be, I can look at my goals and I can go, you know what, it doesn't matter, because I've I'm on path. This is my goal, and that's where I'm going to be. And this is just a minor setback, which is why I've always said to you, and I always talk on Magic TV about remembering what we've done, because sometimes things will go badly. Things won't go the way that you wanted them to be. Again, perfect example. Blackpool this year, Atomic Deck sold out in like one day. Amazing. Everybody bought it. And then you saw the backlash a week later, and it's like everyone's on the internet going, I hate Greg Petty. And I'm like, bloody hell. That's an example of a high and a low, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get this at every single step of the journey. You're going to get this at every single step. So having goals really kind of helps. Looking back at what you've achieved really kind of helps. Because here's the thing, right? There are the majority of people, and I'm going to be completely honest here, the majority of people that get into magic will never achieve what you've achieved. The majority of people that get into magic, and I'm not just talking about young magicians, I'm not just talking about young magicians at all, I'm talking about anybody. I think it's only 5% of people in the whole of the magic community that even do a professional gig. Most people that get into magic will not have achieved what you've achieved, and you've just turned 18. You've won two awards, including Member of the Year or whatever it is at J Day. You've gone out and you've performed at a theatre show. Most people would never perform on a theatre on stage. You performed at Rugeley. Most people would never do that. You've done so much. You've got your own website. Most people would not have their own website. You've got to perform. You're going out doing. You've been interviewed on the radio. You've only just turned 18. Most people will not ever do what you've done in magic, ever. Most people will get into magic, buy a few tricks, show their friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to remind yourself sometimes how amazing you are, because it can be frustrating if you're not going as fast as you want to be. I wish I could snap my fingers, wave a magic wand, and have a million gigs land in your lap. That's not going to happen, because you have a process that you have to go through, and everybody goes through that process. And that's why not everybody makes it. Not everybody makes it because they get to a certain point and they're like, forget it. But here's the thing: if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. It's not easy. Not everybody can do it. I know you well enough to know that you are so determined, so ambitious that you will do it. For God's sake, you taught yourself how to do quick change. That's insane. You absolutely 100% can do it. 100%, 1,000,000%, you can absolutely do it. It's just about having the right goals in mind. So I want you to set goals. Set goals in every way. What do you want to achieve? How many gigs do you want over the course of the year? What's by the end of the year, give me a monthly average. What do you want, four a month? How many, break it down. How many stage gigs do you want? How many close-up gigs do you want? If you want a residency, do you want a residency by the end of the year? Do you want two residencies by the end of the year? Uh, Um, do you want to try and win an award? Do you want to get on TV? Like all of these things that do you want to have an act? When do you want a complete 45-minute act? When do you want to have this act for? What Just set your goal. Everything that you want to try and achieve, have goals for your social media. How many followers do you want? How much interaction do you want? How do you want to do on social media? Have all of these goals set up and laid up in front of you, and then we can go through them next time we meet, and we can get those goals put in place. And I promise you, those goals will help you over the course of the next year as we're pushing forward to total global domination. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? I
Yeah.
feel like I've just talked for an hour, and you just wrote a lot of stuff down. I feel very terrible about that.
It was
Um,
good.
Do you, do you have any questions for me?
Um, I don't think so, no.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so for the next time, three things. Think about a business card. Have a look at LinkedIn so we can think about your LinkedIn account. Have your 60 seconds. Next time I meet you, I want to hear your 60 seconds. Like I gave you a 60 seconds, I want to hear your 60 seconds about who you are. Well, your 60 seconds that you would give at a networking event.
Okay.
And have your goals set up in place. And also think of the tricks that you're going to do for these photos. You want to go for the ones that guarantee to get the best reaction. So,
Yeah.
for example, a lot of magicians don't like doing sponge balls at corporate events, which I get why. However, you know as well as me, doing sponge balls is going to get people to scream their head off. When you're getting photos, sometimes you want to compromise on your standards and do something maybe you don't wouldn't normally do if you know that that's a guaranteed scream getter. think about the tricks that you want to do, and think about those moments where people are going to react. Because as good as a 5 minute mentalism reveal of a playing card is, it's probably not going to get that visceral reaction that you want for a photo.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. I've talked a
Good.
lot. I'm
Good.
very sorry. But yeah, you're well on track. I think that 2025 we set this up nicely. 2026 is where you explode.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
Amazing, amazing. So, guys, let Jess know what you think down below. And more importantly, carry on watching Jess's journey because she is so inspirational. I don't think there's anything like this on YouTube. I don't think there's anything like this where you can actually follow somebody that's out there doing it and you can learn the steps that you need to follow at the same time. And it makes it so much easier when we're talking about Jess, who is incredible. So, Jess, one more time, thank you so much for being on the channel. You're amazing. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
again next week. And yeah, guys, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below for Jess, and I will see you next week right here on the Jess-umentary. My name's Craig. This is Jess. We'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.